Hey guys and girls, this is going to be a look at the Nancy Wheeler character from Stranger Things and why I think she could be a surprise big sacrifice in the forthcoming 5th and final season. So let me know your thoughts on this video, like and subscribe as always, and let's get into it. Nancy Wheeler has gone through many changes over the past 4 seasons. In many ways she has grown, learnt and changed more than maybe any other Stranger Things character. As a young blossoming woman growing into adulthood in the 80s, she has had some stern challenges which many other characters on the show can't relate to, except maybe one character, which I'll come to soon. Nancy has strong ties to the main group and many of the characters linked to them, like she is an unofficial big sister or mother figure outside of her regular family. With all the predictions about who could be sacrificed in the final season, it's easy to overlook Nancy's role in the big picture. She has come a long way from season 1's prim, bookish girl caught between the niche academic crowd and the popular crowd. Funny how her and Steve had similar arcs, but have taken different routes, and eventually their paths reunited. Both have done a lot of growing since season 1. Nancy also slowly has become a reluctant hero, with teenage issues isolating her from her brother Mike and his group early on. But over time, Nancy's world opens up, sees the importance of being a core member of the group and the fight against evil. This helps her personal journey too. This reminds me a bit of the Cordelia Chase character from Buffy and her slow switch from the high-pressured popular crowd to bona fide Scooby member, which again adds layers to her character.
I don't even know if they like me half the time. People just want to be in the popular zone. Sometimes when I'm everyone's so busy agreeing with me, they don't hear a word I say.
Well, if you feel so alone, then why do you work so hard at being popular?
Well, it beats being alone all by yourself.
By the way, even if Nancy and Jonathan ain't the strongest ship ever, I still dig their Mulder and Scully vibes from the first 2 seasons. This is the start of Nancy being drawn more towards the supernatural. If the real-life Jancy stayed a distance on screen and they both survived the series, their growth as adults could be key. Nancy can be seen as supporting the likes of Elle in the early seasons and also helping Max to figure things out when she's at her lowest in season 4. If Nancy was to become a sacrifice, it would likely send ripples through the younger members of the group who have looked up to her. Even someone like Dustin, who used to have a crush on her and now sees her as more of a supportive big sister. The scene with them at the prom in season 2 is still one of my favourites. Nancy has always been supportive of both Steve and Jonathan in their struggles in education. She took active interest in Jonathan's college application last season. If she becomes a sacrifice or ends up with Steve, I can see Nancy leaving something behind for Jonathan, either a foot in the door into further education, or maybe a solid job in journalism or photography. With another time jump for this season, it's pretty logical Nancy might have a secure job in the profession at this time. So could the future really lie with Steve, like season 4 teased us?
Whole brood of Harringtons, like 5, 6 kids.
6?
Yeah, 6 little nuggets. 3 girls, 3 boys. And every summer, I figured all of us Harringtons, we would pack into something like this and just see the country You know, the Rockies, Grand Canyon.
That sounds nice. Well, except for the 6 kid part, that sounds like a total nightmare.
If only I had some practice.
All right, fair. That's fair.
With many fearing a Steve sacrifice for the final season, he was pretty close last season, I could see a tease or a fake out where after he and Nancy reunite, the direction will take a look where it looks as if Steve's fate is about to be sealed, only for one last twist. Yes, I can see Steve and Nancy, having one last romantic moment, with the big sacrifice coming not long afterwards, with Nancy leaving Steve in bed. Mate has been very good at surveying things with this group from the start, of course. If Nancy was the sacrifice, this would be a good excuse to have a scene with Steve, Jonathan and Robin come the end of the show. All have been very important to Nancy in different ways. Her tragic death could make Jonathan and Steve close friends for the first time. The bond between Nancy and her mother Karen, who has become one of my favourite TV mums over the past few years. The series has shown us many sides of Mrs. Wheeler too, including great emotional support, humour and iconic fashion all of her own. Hot take, but their mother-daughter scenes are just as important and touching as Will and Joyce's. Maybe more so since Will has drifted in and out of the series and hasn't had the same character growth as Nancy. This is one of my favourite Karen Nancy scenes.
Don't want to admit that I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, then
You're what everyone thinks you are.
just a kid who has no idea what she's doing.
It's not easy out there, Nance.
I know.
People are always saying you can't, that you shouldn't, that you're not smart enough, not good enough. It's you up again and again until eventually most people, they just stop trying. But you're not like that. You're a fighter. You always have been. I honestly don't know where you get it from.
Dad.
One of the most beautiful and relatable scenes in the whole show, I think. Karen's line about Nancy always being a fighter is also a nice setup for Nancy becoming a full-blown badass in season 4, with a whole new look and feel from the previous seasons. One last thing to think about is Nancy and her late best friend Barb. Barb's surprise death in the first season changes Nancy's past forever. Having a best friend taken away from you so young, then having to hold on to the truth about what really happened is a lot to deal with. One thing the show has proven is that sometimes friendships really are more important than romances. We see that with the core group of boys. With the final season likely to once again dig into the past of the show and making it important once again. What if Nancy's final journey leads back to Barbara? With more timey-wimey antics likely, I could see how Nancy might sacrifice herself to Vecna to change time so that Barb is restored alive to Hawkins. Now that could lead to some interesting scenes at the end of the show with Barbara and other characters. The whole justice for Barb thing was silly, and I wouldn't have changed anything about that plot. But she's an important part of Nancy's history and emotional arc, and that's what really counts. So there's my thoughts on what could happen in the final season of Stranger Things, what could happen to the Nancy characters. Let me know what you think about this video and some of my predictions. like and subscribe, and give me your own theories about the final season of Stranger Things. If you want to support the channel monetarily, you can do at patreon.com/boardnow, or you can become a channel member for lots of bonus perks. But I will return soon with my coverage of the new season of Stranger Things. I have covered the previous 4 seasons on the channel, and I will be reviewing every episode of the final season on the channel, plus a special live stream coming up with me and some guests talking about part 1 of season 5. But thanks for listening, take care, and see you soon, guys.